In this video tutorial, we're going to show you how to use the aerial photography tool in Planit for photographers. Actually, in our video tutorial that shows you how to set the camera height, we mentioned how setting a camera height can be used to simulate the view from a drone's point of view. And while you can see the aerial view simulation in the VR viewfinder, the limitation is that you can't simulate the bird's eye view. And so this is why we introduced a separate aerial photography tool to fill this gap. This is the aerial photography tool that you have here. Super easy to access. Just tap the mode button right here, and the last option brings up the aerial photography tool just right here. Alternatively, you can tap the main menu up here like this, then choose photography tools, and finally select aerial photography. Now, after selecting the aerial photography tool, you'll notice kind of a viewport of a rectangle here, the viewing area. And this middle hollow area is what the drone's camera sees when it is up in the sky at a specific altitude or height. In this case, we're simulating a Mavic 2 Pro drone's view at this altitude or height right just here. Now, of course, the drone can't really fly this height, but it's easy to just zoom in on the map like this, and you can see how the height changes. So let's do this until we get the height changes to right around 500 meters, since 500 meters is usually the maximum height of a DJI drone. So at 500 meters, this is the view that the drone camera can capture. We can drag the map to check the view, the area it includes, the composition, and so forth, just like this. Now, to be clear, this is a bird's eye view, which is something that the VR viewfinder can't do, as I mentioned. For example, when we go to this bridge right here in Minneapolis, at a height of 500 meters, we can capture the whole length. Also, note that from right just here, you can tap and then you can select different types of drones. And most of the drones from DJI have a similar focal length, right in the range of 24 to 28 millimeters. And right here is where you can select the one that you have, the Mavic Pro, the Mavic 2 Pro, the Phantom 4 Pro, and so forth. And only if you have the Inspire 2 drone can you select one of the interchangeable lenses with focal lengths from 16 millimeters to 50 millimeters that you can see right here. Now, here's something cool. Even if the drone that you're using is not on this list, or if you're in a helicopter or a biplane or even a commercial airline, you can still use this tool with your own camera. All you need to know is the focal length that you want to use. Then you just tap this focal length button on the bottom left down right here, and you choose that focal length like this. And this works since the only parameter that determines the aerial view here is the focal length once you've established the height. And look, you can also tilt the map like this. You can use two fingers to drag it around, up and down like this. And you can also rotate the map like this. Now, be sure to note that when you tilt the map, in particular, the camera height is actually going to change. You can then readjust the height by changing the map zoom until it is back to 500 meters. Doing so makes sure that the view you simulated here is actually what the drone's going to capture at this particular tilting angle right here, at this elevation right just here. And think about it, by using this tool, you're going to have a much more prepared flying session even before you send your drone into the air. This is going to save your battery, your time, it's going to reduce the chances of losing it altogether, and lots of other benefits. And look, you can even drag the map around and simulate your flying track to help you pre-visualize the clip like this. You can tilt the map, rotate it. Everything you can do with the drone you can simulate in advance right here. And finally, anytime you want, you can just tap this compass button right here, and that resets the tilt and rotation and the orientation back to north with no tilt. Now, as I mentioned, you can also, please keep in mind that you can also use the aerial photography tool, not just for drone photography, but anytime you're in an airplane. All you have to do is to change the focal length to the focal length of your actual camera, for example, 75 millimeters. Also, we can fly much higher, so while zooming out of the map, we can see the height. And so, for example, at this altitude right just here, we can use a 75 millimeter focal length lens to capture this view. And here's another example. Sometimes you pay a decent fee to charter a private helicopter, and a question you often ask yourself is, what lens should I bring? And this tool is definitely going to help you make this decision. Once you can ask the pilot about the flying height, and then you can simulate all the photographs you want to take, as well as choosing the best focal length lens to bring. And you could potentially even ask the pilot to fly at a specific altitude and angle to get the exact composition you want. So this tool isn't just limited to drone photography. In fact, that's why we call it the aerial photography tool, not the drone photography tool, since you can use this for any type of aerial photography with a bird's eye view. Well, that's it for the aerial photography tool. Until next time, this is Mike Shaw saying enjoy your aerial photography planning with Planit.